My name is Everett, and returning to my late grandmother's house was always a bittersweet journey through memory and time. One room, however, held a particular weight, the once vibrant child's room where my cousin Sophia once played, laughed, and dreamed. As I stepped inside, the faded pastel wallpaper and whimsical prints on the walls whispered of a childhood long past, now shrouded in melancholy and secrets. The room was nearly frozen in time. A lone teddy bear, its fur matted and eyes glassy with age, sat on a dusty windowsill. The small desk by the window, cluttered with brittled papers and long-forgotten crayons, beckoned me with silent urgency. I noticed that the atmosphere in the room seemed to shift subtly as dusk turned to night, a gentle pulsing in the shadows, as if the room itself was alive with hidden sorrows. Unable to resist, I approached the desk and discovered a worn leather diary, its cover delicately embossed with Sophia's name. With trembling fingers, I opened it, revealing pages filled with childish scrawls and cryptic entries. One particular passage sent a chill down my spine. I hear whispers when the stars come out, like little voices sharing secrets. Mama says they're the dreams of the night. The words stirred something deep within me. As the clock ticked toward midnight, the room grew colder, and the soft murmur of the wind outside seemed to blend with faint, indistinct whispers emanating from every corner. I sat on the faded rug, absorbed in the diary, when suddenly I sensed a presence behind me. Slowly, I turned, and there, near the old wardrobe, I glimpsed a tiny, translucent figure, a little girl in an antique dress, her eyes brimming with unspeakable sorrow. For a long, heart-stopping moment, I couldn't move. Then, with a gentle yet haunting voice, the apparition whispered, "Remember me." The sound was so delicate, it could have been the rustle of a curtain, yet it carried an undeniable plea. Instinctively, I spoke into the silence. "Sophia, I'm here. I remember." The response was a soft sigh, and, as if in answer, the music box on a shelf one I had overlooked until now began to play a slow, haunting lullaby. Its melody filled the room with bittersweet echoes of lost innocence and lingering regret. I reached for the music box and opened it, allowing the tune to envelop the space. Every note resonated with the diary's entries, each word now imbued with the gravity of unspoken memories. As the lullaby played, the shadows seemed to dance in gentle patterns across the walls, and the room pulsed with an ethereal light. I could almost feel the weight of Sophia's untold story pressing in around Mia's story of joy, heartbreak, and a deep loneliness that tethered her spirit to this sacred space. With each passing minute, the ghostly whispers grew more distinct, as if the room itself was urging me to uncover the truth behind her sorrow. In that fragile hour, before dawn, the boundary between past and present blurred. I sat, listening intently to the soft, spectral voices, piecing together fragments of a childhood lost and dreams left unfulfilled. The room was not just a relic of bygone days. It was a living memorial to the innocence and pain of a little soul who had been forgotten by time. The diary, the music box, and the fleeting glimpse of Sophia all wove together a narrative of remembrance, a quiet reminder that even in death, love and longing endure. Now, as the first light of day filters through the dusty window, I remain seated in that hallowed space, forever changed by what I experienced. The child's room stands as a bridge between worlds, a testament to the enduring power of memory, the fragility of life, and the whispered echoes of lost dreams that refuse to fade away. My name is Julian, and I recently returned to my ancestral home to sort through the memories of a bygone era. Amidst the dusty corridors and faded photographs, one room, once a vibrant haven of childhood laughter, caught my attention. A long-forgotten child's room that time seemed determined to preserve. The room was untouched, as if waiting for its owner to return. Faded pastel wallpaper adorned the walls, and delicate hand-painted murals of fairies and sunshine still clung to the ceiling. A small bed, draped with a once cheerful quilt, sat in one corner, while a vintage music box rested atop a worn dresser. Despite the room's nostalgic charm, a heavy melancholy permeated the air. That night, as a storm raged outside, I decided to spend a few quiet moments in the room. The only sound was the rhythmic tapping of rain against the window and the distant rumble of thunder. I sat on the edge of the bed, flipping through an old leather-bound diary I discovered tucked beneath a loose floorboard. The diary belonged to a little girl named Eliza, whose innocent scribbles and tender sketches chronicled a life filled with both wonder and inexplicable sorrow. As midnight approached, the room began to change. The soft hum of the music box, long silent, suddenly sprang to life, playing a haunting lullaby that sent shivers down my spine. The shadows on the walls lengthened and danced, as if stirred by unseen hands. In a moment of unsettling clarity, I saw movement in the corner of my small, translucent figure standing by the window, its eyes brimming with a sorrow so profound it nearly broke my heart. Frozen in terror and compassion, I watched as the ghostly child drifted closer. Her features were delicate, yet marred by a sadness that defied explanation. I could almost feel her longing for Salisa's plea that resonated with every word written in her diary. The air grew colder, and the once familiar room seemed to whisper secrets of a past tragedy, each creak of the floorboards echoing her silent lament. I gathered my courage and reached out, murmuring softly, "Eliza, I'm here. I want to help." The apparition paused, and for a fleeting moment, the room was filled with a serene stillness. The doll on the shelf, with its cracked porcelain face, seemed to nod in approval, as if acknowledging my promise. I carefully read aloud a passage from her diary that spoke of a lost dream and a yearning for peace. As my voice filled the quiet room, the ghostly presence began to fade, leaving behind an ethereal glow that slowly dissolved into the darkness. The music box's melody softened, and the oppressive sorrow that had gripped the room lifted, replaced by a fragile sense of closure. I realized then that Eliza's spirit had been bound to the room by the weight of her unspoken grief that, once recognized, could finally be released. Now, as I sit here in the restored silence of that child's room, the memory of that surreal encounter remains etched in my mind. The room is no longer just a relic of the past. It has become a sacred space where the boundary between the living and the lost is tenderly acknowledged. Eliza's diary and the lingering traces of her presence serve as a poignant reminder that sometimes the truest act of compassion is to listen to the whispers of forgotten souls and to the quiet, aching heart of a child long gone.